Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg in your council recap for the recent council meeting on April 8th, 2025. Chad Brecklin here, your city administrator, in to work through a very busy agenda. It's a very busy night for a council meeting. The agenda was amended quite a bit during, which means they moved items around. We're going to stick in the order that it was when we started the night off here. So
that sounds perfect.
We go down to commission committee reports on Plan Commission item, and this is approval final plot here for Green Tech. This is Lacey Road and East Sherrill intersection area, if you're kind of getting familiar with this.
Yeah, so this is generally speaking on the east side of Fitchburg near Highway 14 and more specifically at the intersection of Lacey and East Sherrill. This is one of the steps in the development process to actually plat this land, which creates buildable parcels. And we are anticipating a couple of projects potentially coming forward at this intersection later this year and or early next year. So this is, again, one of those steps that are necessary to create those buildable lots, and that was approved by the council.
All right. Next ordinance, an amendment granting general implementation on what would be a condos to be built off of Rimrock Road in Mahoney.
Yeah, so this is specifically at the address of 2735 Rimrock, which you had pointed out is right at the intersection of Rimrock and Maloney Drive. This is going to allow for the construction, I think it's roughly 20 units or so that are anticipated to be ownership in the form of a condo platted development. So looking forward to this particular project. It'll bring some additional housing supply and stock and some ownership opportunities to our community, and this was ultimately approved.
Moving on to item 3 was removing mobile home park parking requirements.
Yeah, this was just an update to our city ordinances that would indicate that the city itself does not have any parking requirements for its mobile home park or any future mobile home parks. We would obviously still have to fall under any other regulations that might determine parking standards, such as at the state level, but ultimately the city is not imposing any additional requirements.
All right, so we go under Board of Public Works. First resolution was approving a relocation order for construction on Sain Road Interceptor.
Yeah, so there was some debate on this particular item, and ultimately the Common Council elected to postpone this to allow staff some time to prepare a more detailed overlay of where an easement is looking to go in relation to an environmental corridor and so forth. So this was postponed for 2 weeks. I'll come back again at the April 22nd Common Council meeting.
All right, we move on to item 2, authorizing acceptance of the 2025 street resurfacing bid.
Yep, that's the time of year. Road construction, resurfacing, you name it. We're going to take advantage of the weather, and this is this year's list of road resurfacing projects. There's a map out on the city's website under the Public Works Department that shows the specific areas that are going to be resurfaced this year. But ultimately, this bid was awarded. It's about a $1.8 million contract to do those streets this year, and it was approved. Looking forward to getting started.
All right, we're off and running. Amendment on the 2025 TID closure to add funds here for our I wrote security and blinds because I know there's some blinds in my area,
Sure.
but nevertheless, what are we doing here?
Yeah, this is largely related to adding some door access controls to certain areas of City Hall that have not historically had door access controls. So really that's what this amendment is largely doing, and that was approved.
All right, we move on to approving amendment number 1 with Pepper Construction for LEED, that is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. This would be for the police services facilities.
Yeah, so the police services facility continues through its design phase and construction drawing phase. And one of the things there's many sustainability-related features that are going into this building. And there is an opportunity to have those features certified at various levels of certification. We did this with the library project. It's my understanding that that's a LEED Gold project. I think I misspoke at the council meeting and thought it was silver, but I think it's been since corrected that we do have LEED Gold certification at the library. So the Common Council was provided the opportunity to pursue this certification for the police services facility, and they elected to approve this requested amendment, which does give us the ultimate option to go ahead and have this building certified for its sustainability.
All right, so we'll keep you posted on as that project continues to move forward here. We move down to Resource Conservation Commission approving the sustainability plan. We've been talking with Phil on the show on our and his sustainability updates about the different parts of this. So exciting stuff here to get approval here on that plan.
Yeah, this has been a multi-year process in the making in order to establish the funding. I think it took a couple of budget years that would create the funding in order to hire a consultant to assist with the creation of the city's first sustainability plan. Obviously, the Resource Conservation Commission, some community members, Common Council, city staff have all been involved deeply in this process, and been a number of meetings to discuss it publicly over the last 6 to 8 months, and the Common Council approved that plan at its meeting.
All right, we move down to Healthy Neighborhoods Committee, a resolution here on adopting and approving the city's Fitchburg strategic plan.
Yeah, so this strategic plan continues through its journey of development and action by the Common Council. It is heading back to both the Community Equity Committee and the Healthy Neighborhoods Advisory Committee, and it was postponed to the May 13th Common Council meeting, although I will add new information that has produced itself since the Common Council meeting is Healthy Neighborhoods does not meet until June 4th. So I'm anticipating that ultimately at the May 13th meeting that this will be postponed to the first meeting, council meeting in June. So stay tuned, but right now it's back on May 13th.
Fantastic. Moving on to Tree Advisory Committee, they have a resolution here approving moving forward with Fitchburg Forward Strategic Urban Forestry Management Plan.
Yeah, we have a lot of park and open space acreage here in the city. I think by the last numbers I've seen, it's somewhere around approximately 800 acres of park open space and woodlots or forestry within the city's control. And this obviously is an opportunity for us to create a management plan, particularly for our forestry management or woodlots. And I think we're getting grant funding to help with this, to be honest with you, if I recall correctly.
I do believe we are.
I don't have the dollar amount. I want to say about $25,000 off the top of my head, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, ultimately this was approved, and we're looking forward to developing those guidelines.
All right, in line with Talking Trees here, approval of the 2025 spring tree planting, looking at 252 new trees.
Yep, every year we do planting of additional trees. The city does have a goal of having approximately 30% of its urban service area covered in tree canopy. And this is another step going along this journey. Some of these trees, I don't know the exact number, it's probably contained within the documentation, are actually being paid for through the cost of development. Anytime a development is done in the city of Fitchburg, there is some landscaping plan, and in particular if it's a subdivision type development covering a wider area, there is an expectation that trees are going to be planted in that subdivision and neighborhood, and the city charges a fee for the developer to provide to us that then we turn around and utilize to purchase trees and plant those trees. So this was approved as usual, and folks should start to see 252 trees showing up in various areas of the city.
I would encourage you to. We sat down with Anna Healy, a forestry expert, knows everything that you'd ever want to know about trees, and it's cool how they pick out the trees, and as climate changes and things, the trees that she's picking up to put in replacement. It's just a pretty cool process of how they select that. So we'll be following along this year. We'll bring you more coverage of that, and Arbor Day events coming up too. So it's the tree planting season.
Absolutely. And I certainly won't step on Anna's toes. She does a great job for the city in her role, and if you're talking to her here on Fact TV, then she certainly can share her vast knowledge and experience that helps the city.
Your tree species, you don't know that? You don't have your chart with you today? Okay.
No, but I do know we're diversifying our tree species as a result of the emerald ash borer situation.
Like I said, it's pretty fascinating stuff there. So anyway, off a little topic there, but 250 trees coming your way. Moving on to Finance Committee, they had the establishing of the City of Fitchburg motor vehicle registration fee, and this was moved up to the beginning, one of those that was amended up. Nevertheless, tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so this is a annual vehicle registration fee that the Common Council considered. It is allowed by state statute. It is a registration fee that is collected by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. Anytime anyone registers a vehicle that qualifies or is required to pay this additional registration fee. This fee can only be used for transportation-related expenses. As you mentioned at the start of our segment here, there was a public hearing on this particular topic, specifically at the start of the meeting. I think there was approximately 18 to 20 folks who actually spoke. I think nearly all, if not all of them, spoke in opposition. There's a number of emails that have been sent to the Common Council as well. And I know our Common Council had engaged their constituency in other ways, phone calls and so forth, that they would have received as well. And ultimately, after a notable amount of debate, the Common Council did approve the implementation of this vehicle registration fee. I know that was a difficult decision, just being in the room for our Common Council. There was a lot of points that were raised as to why this may not be something that is supported by at least those who are speaking. And obviously a number of comments were made by our Common Council indicating, why they believe it is a necessary thing to add. This does become effective for any vehicle that is being registered or has their registration expiring on or after August 1st of this year. So there's, about 4 months or so before this begins.
And how much revenue would come from that estimated?
Sure. Yeah, it's estimated about $1 million in revenue will be collected as a result of this fee being implemented. And the money by statute has to be, again, used for transportation-related expenses. It was discussed at the Common Council meeting that through the 2026 operating budget process that will take place later this year, that it is possible that the Common Council may wish to reallocate existing property tax levy money that is being utilized for transportation-related expenses to other things, which could include the operating costs associated with the police services facility, transit system improvements, and potential increases in costs associated with EMS service provision here in the city. So again, all of that information or decisions will be made through the operating budget process, and I encourage anyone who has an interest in this matter or just the overall finance and budgeting process of the city to really, reach out to city staff, reach out to your elected officials if you have questions, and, feel free to engage during that process.
All right, we'll keep you posted here on Fact TV when those processes do come up of public hearings and beyond. And we do have guests here as well breaking down the budget more, so we'll make sure to communicate that out as well. All right, we move on to amending the start and end time for regular scheduled council meetings. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so historically our Common Council meetings have started at 7:30 p.m., and it was determined that perhaps it might be appropriate to evaluate whether or not we continue that. There are obviously some changes that, sometimes it's okay to just leave things as is, and sometimes it's okay to move things. This change was proposed for a couple of reasons. In a lot of situations, our elected officials also have other full-time employment or day jobs, if you will, and sometimes our meetings go late, such as on April 8th. It went till nearly midnight. And, capturing that additional hour may not be the worst thing. And also from a city staff perspective, most staff are starting their day, around 8:30 in the morning. Most are then working throughout the day, which, we're fine with. But, obviously, starting the meeting at 6:30 may also be a benefit to those staff who are expected to be at the Common Council meetings, which in a lot of regards is, on average, probably a good 6 to 8 staff are present.
And that will start when?
That will go into effect for the May council meeting. So the first council meeting in May, which I do not, that's May 13th, as we had talked about earlier. So May 13th will be the first meeting that we will see that. The city will be reaching out and putting some things out through its media channels after the last council meeting in April. We don't want to create any sort of confusion there. So once that last meeting in April happens, we'll be sure to communicate that. And the plan is to then communicate that in advance of the next couple, the first two meetings in May as well, just to serve as reminders.
I'll be talking about it nonstop here on Talking Fitchburg. You know it's coming
there you
for
go.
Sure. All right, moving on here. Direct referral on approving the purchase of salt. Why are we buying salt now?
Because we plan ahead for the next winter, and the state does a large bulk order of road salt, and they offer municipalities to participate in that purchase. We have historically participated in that purchase of the road salt, and we intend to do so again because it reduces our overall cost for that road salt if we were to go out and do that on our own.
We just hope for those nice, easy winters.
It'd be nice not to need it, quite honestly, at least in my opinion. Maybe others are happy with winter, but I'm perfectly fine if we didn't need road salt again.
Fantastic. Agreed. All right. Two more pieces here. We had a resolution here, approval of open custodial accounts. I'm just going to let you talk about it. I'm not going to read on, but you tell us what we got going on here.
So we have a few ways in which we invest the funds that we currently have within the city, sometimes prior to their use. And this is a case where we had borrowed some funding, I think in 2020 or 2021, for a road project. Road project ended up getting delayed, and we had that money obviously sitting in an account, which was an interest-bearing account. Interest rates had been high. We're not necessarily in the business of borrowing money to then let it collect interest, and there is some provisions in the IRS code that dissuade municipalities' ability to do that, and ultimately we have to do an arbitrage payment that will reimburse the federal government for some of that interest income. What we have learned through this process is that we can invest funds in a different investment mechanism that would reduce our liability from an arbitrage payment standpoint and also then be exempt from tax. So we have worked with our public finance advisors to identify the best way in which to move that money to a different account, all within permitted activities, of course, and this was just the authorization being sought from staff from Common Council to go ahead and proceed to do that.
Whew.
Lots to cover there. I would encourage anybody with questions on that to reach out to our finance director, Misty Dodge. She certainly would be happy to further explain that or answer any questions.
Finally, we had two different action claims come up. I'll take these one by one.
Yeah, so the first one, a company or business has contested their tax-exempt status with the city. The city has denied their request for tax-exempt status in the assessing department, so they ultimately filed the claim directly with the city. The Common Council consulted with its legal team, city staff, and ultimately came back into open session and denied the claim that's been filed by that particular company.
And then the second one, or was it the same?
There were two different ones, and then the second one was largely an update related to a pending excessive tax assessment case that has been filed against the city. The city staff and its legal counsel again discussed this with Common Council and has some direction on which to proceed.
All right, next Common Council organizational meeting for our new council will be coming up next week, so it comes before Plan Commission, so if you're interested in that. Otherwise, April 22nd, we'll be back for another council meeting. Chad, always a pleasure. Appreciate the time, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.